There is a cold, rhythmic sound that defines the modern human experience. The dry, clinical rattle of a tablet falling into a plastic tray. In that precise moment, before the chemistry even enters your system, you experience a profound sense of relief. It isn't a medical miracle. It is a clinical exoneration. You are being told that your despair, your fragmentation, and your paralyzing anxiety are not failures of your character or your life choices. They are simply minor accidents in the neurocircuitry of your hardware. This narrative is incredibly seductive because it grants you a certificate of innocence. It whispers, "You aren't broken. Your machine is just malfunctioning." Welcome to Agora. Today, we are dismantling the illusion of the chemical cure by examining Justin Garson's provocative work, The Madness Pill. The story begins with a period that could be described as the Manhattan Project of the human mind. In the 1950s, the medical world was celebrating triumph. After triumph, polio was being eradicated, and surgery was becoming an art form. Yet, psychiatry sat in a humiliating darkness. Doctors were effectively powerless against the shattering of a human brain. They could witness madness, but they couldn't map it. Then came Dr. Solomon Snyder, a man often described as an unheralded genius who would redefine the boundaries of the brain. Snyder's strategy was as daring as it was cold-blooded. To cure madness, he first had to manufacture it. Snyder embarked on a quest to find a drug that could mimic the actual symptoms of schizophrenia. He experimented with psychedelics like LSD, but the fit wasn't quite right. It wasn't until the rise of speed, amphetamines, that he found his mirror image. He discovered that the psychosis induced by excessive amphetamine use was almost indistinguishable from the delusions of schizophrenia. By mimicking insanity, Snyder and his team began to map the chemical pathways of our internal chaos. This era marked a violent paradigm shift. Psychiatry moved away from the soft world of environmental factors and talk therapy, and plunged headfirst into the hard world of biological determinism and industrial pharmacology. This shift was heralded as a victory for science. It moved mental health into an acceptable scientific field where problems were solved with a prescription rather than a decades-long conversation. But as we look back, we have to ask a question that is much more uncomfortable. Why did we, as a society, accept this objectification of our own souls so eagerly? The answer is darker than simple medical progress. We prefer the biological explanation because facing life is far too expensive. To acknowledge that your pain is environmental, that it is born from a toxic family dynamic, an exploitative workplace, or a collapsing social structure, requires a revolution. It requires you to change your life, to confront your past, and perhaps to burn down the structures you've built. But if your pain is biological, you don't have to change anything. You just need a glass of water and a pill. This is what we might call scientific cowardice. We have outsourced our emotional sovereignty to the laboratory. When we define human suffering as a chemical imbalance, we are effectively granting society a free pass for its cruelty. The pill acts as a buffer between the individual and the hostile reality. We would rather believe we are a faulty machine in need of a software patch than a human being who is rightfully suffocating in a poisonous environment. Under this logic of neuro-obedience, we have all been downgraded to biological assets in need of periodic maintenance. Think about the implications. If a pill allows you to remain stable while working 80 hours a week in a job you hate, or if a medication allows you to stay calm in a hollow, loveless relationship, is it really healing you? Or is it simply domesticating you? Is it curing your distress? Or is it chemically engineering you to accept a life that should be unacceptable? Justin Garson spends most of his book chronicling the brilliance of Snyder and the successes of psychopharmacology. But in the final chapters, he levels a devastating critique against the very system he has described. He suggests that while we may have fixed the neurochemistry, we have derailed the human story. When every ounce of your joy, your focus, or your tranquility is outsourced to an exogenous chemical intervention, what is actually left of yourself? We are living in an era of industrial emotional management. Every time you swallow that pill and feel that familiar wave of relief, you are participating in a quiet surrender of your own agency. You are accepting the identity of a malfunctioning machine. You are no longer an autonomous agent attempting to navigate or change your destiny. You have become a biological component, undergoing scheduled chemical maintenance to ensure you remain manageable within the system. The objectification is complete when we no longer even question the side effects or the long-term impact on our personality. We simply want the noise of our pain to stop. But that pain is often the only part of our soul that is still telling the truth. It is the alarm system telling you that your environment is toxic. When you silence the alarm with a pill, you aren't fixing the fire. You are just removing the battery from the smoke detector. True salvation isn't found in a perfect lab report or a stabilized dopamine level. It is found in the courage to look at a broken world and realize that your distress might be the most sane thing about you. It is the realization that your multicolored tablets are not a bridge to a better life, but a truce with a life you have given up on changing. So, stop asking which pill you need to fix yourself. Start asking, if I took away the chemical mask, who would be standing here? Is there still a person with the autonomy to say no to a toxic world? Or have you become so well medicated that you can no longer tell the difference between being cured and being conquered? The choice between a perfect machine and a pained human is the ultimate crossroads of our time. And as long as we continue to worship the pill, we are choosing to stay in the tray. This is Agora. We'll see you next time.